Hi, I'm Chris Ormando.
And I'm Matt Navin, and today in this installment of the Strife of Nations introduction series, we want to talk about our combat system and explain just really how we sort of reinvented the way that LARP combat works for our game. With a traditional LARP, you have a call-based system where you're calling numerical weapon damage, you're calling skills of people, and it ends up just becoming an aggressive math quiz. And a lot of times you end up not even really keeping track of it so much as just falling down when it's time to fall down. And with our game being a war game simulation where there's a lot of focus on just everyone out there being a soldier and taking the fight to the enemy, we realized that combat had to work well in our game because it's really just the driving force of it. So we wanted to come up with a way to keep people immersed in the game because it's such a great source of role-playing that really sometimes doesn't come up as an opportunity in other games because in a lot of ways it can be the most out-of-character experience in other games. We wanted to keep it completely in character. We wanted to keep it feeling very natural and just, into the game. So we wanted to move away from that, and what we instead decided to do was keep it simple on just a one-for-one basis of, by yourself, you probably only have one hit point, maybe two if you're a Nazari. And you'll definitely want some armor on top of that, but failing that, you have 1 or 2 hit points versus weapons that do 1 or 2 damage.
We took PvP in mind. Okay, when we designed this game, it wasn't a game designed around fighting monsters. It was a game designed around fighting each other. And what we did was, as Matt said, we went for one humor for 1 damage. Weapons are deadly, and we made them deadly. We made people vulnerable to weapons that are deadly. Armor, as Matt said, is huge. It's a lifesaver. It does what it's supposed to do. It protects you from dying. Now, we start off with basic weapons, which are the natural color weapons. If you have a hammer, it would be of some sort of metallic color, or if it's a wooden weapon, it'd be brown or such. And any kind of natural occurring color would designate 1 damage. Through talents, you can increase your damage output. Saying with this smaller hammer here, white in our game designates 2 damage. And I say, well, is this Nazari weapon the Metzaquitl? If this were a normal Metzaquitl, it would be black or gray or another natural color.
Right, you can see the difference here on the hammers where you have just the metallic head versus the white head there to just demonstrate the business end is doing an extra point of damage here.
Latex weapons, which we do allow at the game, share the same thing. The weapon color that it comes with should be the 1 damage. It should be black or metallic color, and to prevent damage to the weapon with duct tape, we recommend that you make sleeves, or we actually have sleeves for rent or buy at the game to put over the weapon to designate that these weapons are doing more damage. Then we have the bow and arrow. We use, as you can see here, the boffer arrow, where we actually fire the arrows at each other.
With a low
pull, 20 pounds.
Yeah. And
it's not meant to be the Ranger snipe fest. It's supposed to be groups of soldiers firing volleys into combat. Think Agincourt, where 300 archers decimate an oncoming armored force of French knights. Archers do the most damage out the box, which is 5 damage. Arrows do the most basic damage in the game. You can come in as many arrows as you can hold, fire them as much as you want, and within limits of the game. And 5 damage compared to everything else is 1. With nothing else said.
And what that does is basically when you're engaged in combat, you just kind of have to look at the color of what's being thrown. If you get hit with a boffer arrow, you know to take 5 damage. Otherwise, you just check the color, and every time that you take a hit, you deduct that from your armor or your humor once you're down to that. And it's really that simple. We even simplify the way that you get to fight. It's completely just pick up and play. There's no weapon proficiencies. There's no skill combo uses. There's no skill that lets you use 2 hand weapons at one time. We just have certain restrictions. A great weapon is used with 2 hands. A hand weapon is used with 1. Now, we do have a talent path that unlocks certain
styles of fighting.
Yeah, certain styles of fighting. Great weapons deliver some very powerful blows that can kind of make a shield useless.
Knock down a wall.
A hand weapon and a shield is going to put you defensive, allows you to just kind of absorb blows a little bit more, that sort of thing. But it doesn't permit you access to something, it just increases your ability to use it. It kind of gives you, like Chris said, a fighting style.
It makes you as a player dynamic.
Right.
Because once you have these talents, you can switch up. If you have your hand weapon and shield, and you see someone going with a hand weapon and shield, you want, maybe I can crack the weapon with a gray hammer, pull out your Grey Hammer, drop your weapon and shield, and it immediately starts taking place. And the talent takes effect immediately.
But combat is really just look at the opponent's weapon, see what color it is, and just track that versus that. No one's calling damage at you, lets you just completely focus on that fight. You don't have to worry about that math as heavily. And that's really where I think Strife succeeds, is it just lets you focus on the actual combat from player to player.